When update user details web service endpoint is called and the user details have been successfully updated in our database, we will get back in the response the updated user details which are now stored in the database. So now when we have the response object, let's check if the values of first name and last name are correct. So I'll paste a couple of lines of code here, and then I will use assertions to assert that the first name that was returned with the response matches the first name that I have sent with my API call to be stored in a database. So I will use assert equals, and now the expected value is search, and the actual value is the first name that was returned with the response. So if these two are equal, then our test will pass, otherwise the test will fail. And I will do the same for the last name. So if these two are equals, then the test is passing. If needed, we can also check that other details, like for example, list of addresses have not been deleted and are still there. Because what if we have an issue in our web service code and when the update user details API call is made, the list of addresses gets deleted? Unless we test this, we cannot be very sure that it works well. So let's add a couple of more assertions that check that the list of addresses is still there. First of all, I will need to read the list of addresses. Let me do it here. So we can use response, and then we will use JSON path. And from JSON path, we will get a list, which is stored under the key addresses, like this. So this one will return as a list. So we will use list, and it will be called addresses. Let's say stored addresses, like this. And this list will contain map objects. So I'll create map, and each map will be an address record that has a key value pairs, and we'll have string for the key, and we'll have string data type for the value. Okay, so now we have list of addresses, and we need to compare that list of addresses is matching the original one. Like first of all, let's make sure this list is not empty. So I will assert not null, and I will use this stored addresses. This is one assertion, and now I want to make sure that this list of addresses which is returned is equal to the list of addresses which we originally put. And if I scroll up here, we somewhere read list of addresses. For example, in the get user details API call, we read list of addresses. So what I can do, I can declare this list of addresses at the class level, and I will delete this. And now I'll go up and I'll declare it here as private static list of addresses. And because my methods run in order, I know that a list of addresses will be first initialized in the get user details API call here, and only after we have get list of addresses initialized, only after the get user details method is called, we have the update user details, which will already have list of addresses. So now what I will do, I will assert true, and I will use addresses size. This is the list of original addresses, and I want to make sure that this size is equal to the size of the stored addresses. So this is another possible assertion, and what we can also do, we can compare that the original list of addresses has, for example, one element, and the street name of that element is equal to the street name which is returned with the object in the stored addresses list. So let's do that. I will assert equals, and now I will take the original list of addresses, and I will get the first element from it. I'll get the first address, so that will be under index 0, and then I will get a street name from it. So I will get an object, and that object is now the address record, and I know that my address record has a street name like this. And now I want to compare that this street name, which is stored in the original list of addresses, is equal to the street name which is returned with the list of addresses that is returned after the update user details API call is made. So I will take stored list of addresses and I'll get first element and I'll compare the street name, something like this. So now we have more assertions, and if it works, we have more confidence that our update user details API call works and we do not have an issue with our web service. So let's save this and let's now run this test to see if it works. So as usual, I will first run my application. I'll run it as Spring Boot to make sure my RESTful Web Service API is up and running before I can test it. So let's check the console starting. So it started, and now I will open up my test project, source test Java, and then I'll go to test create user, and I will create one record first. I will create the user. Success. Now let's open the browser window and we will log in our H2 console. Select all from users and update email verification status. Run selected query, success, select from users again. Okay, so now we can log in. I'll open up my project again and I will run the tests in my web service endpoint test class. So I'll run it as JUnit, and I have test A running now, B and C. All are successful. A, B, C, all tests are passing. And this means that the update user details API call was made successfully. First name was updated, and all the assertions that we created here, they're all passing. We can look into a database now to check if the user details was updated. So original value was first name equal to Sergey. Now we will run the query again and we will have a look at the value here. First name is now search. So it's working. Let's continue.